Hello, Virgo, and welcome back to your extended. So, I want to just start off the second portion of this reading by saying that, um, we were kind of talking about how like the other party, right, the air sign, they know ahead of time like what their moves are going to be before it even reaches um, your awareness. But there is like, when you look at both of their faces, it's like there's a deep shame about this. It's like neither of them wanted it to come to this. You know, it's like they didn't want this to happen either. As just as much as you didn't want this to happen. There's definitely a sense of shame or like guilt that is kind of surrounding this message. And I think that is why both of you, when you're presenting your case, if you will, both of you are coming out with these justice energies, because it seems as though it's like when this is occurring, when it's happening, when the judgment is being applied, it's like neither one of you are in your bodies. Neither one of you are neither one of you are it's like neither one of you are embodied. It's coming through as like both of you dissociate when this is happening. Both of you are dissociating. And what ends up taking over, like once you leave your body, you both dissociate, right? Because there is such an intense amount of emotion that is being felt. It's like it's kind of triggering that like fight or flight response, and both of your reaction is flight. Both of you are leaving your bodies, dissociating. And I wonder actually if that's what's helping both of you reach this new world. Because it seems as though when that happens, it's like these two justice energies, like they're taking over. It's like they're taking over your bodies. And while you're in the background, they're taking over, and they're both moving through this situation almost on your behalf. And now we could be talking about like this in a practical sense as like these being your lawyers, if you will, but it could also be referring to like both of your higher selves. It's like both of your higher selves have stepped into your bodies and are it's like they're facilitating the orchestration of this scenario playing out. So it's like to help this transition happen in a more like in an easier manner, like in a way that is not going to affect either of you as like traumatically. It's like they're both taking over. And it's like now both of them are talking. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like now it's just both of your higher selves that are um I was gonna say like renegotiating the contract between you two. But in this sense, it's almost like ending the contract between you two, whatever that contract is. They're both taking over and ending this contract between you. So that, we were talking about how I saw 333. I've seen 444. There's a lot of um, it's just coming out as like this is like a faded, it's a faded event, it's a faded orchestration. It's meant to happen because it's at the 10, so it's like now we're moving on into another and into another space. And I'm sorry, what was I referring to? Hang on, I'm getting back on track. So they're stepping in as your higher selves, right, to end this contract between you two. And that actually might help you, Virgo, in understanding why this is happening to you. Because it does seem like this was all very abrupt to you. It does seem like you didn't know that this was going to happen. You know, you didn't receive the message from your higher self that this was coming. It's coming to you as a surprise. So it's like this reading is trying to help you understand that your higher self, your justice, if you will, is a part of this. So it's like a part of you, Virgo, on a higher realm, if you will, was in agreeance, is that a word? I don't know. To this happening, you agreed. And I kind of want to take this, it's like it's wanting to go into a direction of you're agreeing for this to happen. You agreed on a higher level, like on a, they kind of talk about like before you arrive on this earth plane, before you embody, you become an actual human being who's walking, talking, breathing, living life. There are, it's almost like you set up your life path, if you will, ahead of time. And then of course, like as you come into this world, there's a lot of forgetting that happens, right? So what this is trying to reassure you is that this was all a part of the plan. This was all a part of the plan. It's just that you weren't made aware of it because you are required to be a little bit more flexible in this transition. So we kind of have you both reflected again here at the bottom on your second row. And this time you have the Ace of Swords in between you. And what I've noticed here is that when we look at the Queen of Swords and the Justice, there's two swords presented here. So that's talking about how the higher selves truth matches the truth of their avatar or embodiment, if you will. Whereas for you, you have only one sword. So it's like they're presenting here as the Emperor, the Queen of Swords. So it's like they are presenting to you a sword. It's like another sword is coming to you. So another truth, they're bringing you a truth. They're bringing you a truth. They're bringing you their truth. And their truth is that they already have something set up for them. There's something that is waiting for them that's already set up. Because the Emperor here, this orb, represents the world. And remember how we were both talking about how you are both transitioning into a new world, right? So their world is already set up. It's It's ready to be almost like moved into. It's already in existence. It's just waiting for them to arrive. And especially with the judgment, because judgment comes with a message of answering the call. So their new world has been calling them. And that's why they got the message first, right? Hang on. I was saying the right. They're being given the right. That's what it is. It has something to do with like they're being given the right, like the almost like the right of way. The right, like they're being given permission, if you will, by a universal orchestration because they're being called into a new place. That new place is already waiting for them. And so that's why they already knew what was going to happen before you did. It's like they're the initiator for all of this happening. It's like they've received the call first. So they're coming up with the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles talks about removing yourself. Well, in this instance, what it's referring to is that they have decided to remove themselves from this. Well, I want to say it's like from this contract. They're removing themselves from this contract because it is what their higher self is telling them to do. It's all in alignment, right? Especially with these two, with the, what do you call this thing? With the scale. With their scale being in balance, what that's referring to is that this decision for them is in alignment. And so, therefore, they're removing themselves from the contract. There's a correlation here. Hang on a second. Because what I'm seeing is, we had that Ten of Cups that was being presented as kind of the fullness of the situation that you were in, right? And now with this Five of Pentacles being presented here, it's like I'm seeing the feminine with the child, if you will, removing themselves. And then, okay. They're removing themselves, and then you're left in this Ten of Swords. So we're definitely talking about some type of, it's like it's a breakup or something. The end of a contract. It's the end of a contract. And that here is, if we're going to use like legal terms, things like that, this can be presenting in your current circumstances as either like a breakup or like a divorce, something like that. Because there's a lot of it's like there's a lot of I can feel the paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of things that need to be negotiated. Or at least you're wanting to negotiate. They're not wanting to negotiate anything else. They're wanting to just remove themselves from the contract because they have somewhere else to be. They have somewhere else to be. Something else is calling them. Whatever they're holding in their hand, their new world, it's already complete. It's already like in manifestation. And so their higher self is moving. They are being moved. You are being moved as well. Well, what I'm loving here about your side of the equation, though, is that yes, while they already have everything set up for them, you are presenting as the magician. So what that's talking about is, hang on, I want to get this beeping to stop. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry for that disturbance. I just know that beeping is going to like annoy me, and it's also going to annoy you. So, all right. So, like I was saying, you know, they've got their own setup, if you will, right? So the beauty of this, and I'm hoping that this will kind of give you a better frame of mind for, you know, what you're going through right now, is that it's like they're being catapulted into this emperor energy, which is nice, but you're in the magician. So while everything for them is already set up, yours is being created by you. You are creating a new world for yourself. Now, it is a little bit more like when you look at both of these side by side, it's definitely like your manifestation, if you will, is younger. It's not as well established. And that is why flexibility for you is required, because in order to make your new world come into existence, it's like you need to be able to like bend and shape and like utilize the elements around you for their fullest capacity. It requires a lot of experimentation. So for your new world, it's like you're going to try new things, and when you do that, you're learning, which the owl talks a lot about learning lessons, learning things. You're learning what you like and what you don't like. And as you move along your path, like so Ouroboros talks about like our timeline, our path. As you move along that path, your manifestation is going to become a true reflection of you, right? So their manifestation, the world that they've created, the one that they are about to move into, is a true reflection of what they want. Not only is it that, it's also in alignment with their higher self too. It's all a part of their plan. Yours, on the other hand, is, I don't want to say that it's not, excuse me, I don't want to say that it's not a true reflection, but there could definitely be a little bit more refinement to it, if you will. Especially because these two scales it's not quite in like precise reflection. It's like slightly like blurred, if you will. But this experience for you, you know, because you're being given the sword, right? You're being given another sword. So it's like, you see, he's got the pinnacle here, right? You already have the pinnacle. You already have the Pentacle. You've already got like this cup, right? The wand is in your hand. You have the power, the passion to be able to create your new world. But the thing that you're missing is like it's above your head. It's the sword, right? It's your it's your truth. It's what you would desire, right? So this experience is giving you an opportunity to redefine what you want your life's manifestation to be. What do you want your world to look like? The new world that you're stepping into, what do you want it to look like? I'm sorry, I suddenly received a vision of like, what do you want her to look like? I don't know what that is. So it's like you're being given a really good opportunity. You're being given a really good, you might not see that right now, but you're being given a great opportunity to design. It's like you're designing your life as you move into it. You're designing it. It's like you're being given, what do they call that, like creative control. You're being given creative control, which it actually has a lot of freedom to it. You have a lot of freedom, um, in the creative control of your new design. Whereas if you want to compare, I guess, this one is a lot more structured. There's not a lot of deviancy that is allowed here. It is more absolute. It is more black and white. It is either all or nothing. It is, do you see? I hope that you see what I'm saying. Whereas yours is kind of free to express itself. It's free to flow however it wants. You are free to explore. And that is actually being encouraged by your higher self. That's why you were not given the information. Because if you were, you would have held yourself in place, especially with especially with the Selkie energy that's coming up to finish up your reading. So, they've decided to remove themselves. What I'm seeing for you in the Selkie is actually like, I'm actually pulling up like a Disney movie, The Little Mermaid. She turns into actually a lot of kind of like catastrophe. She kind of gets tricked, right? A little bit of catastrophe happens to her, but then she gets legs, right? She enters into a new world, and that's what's happening for you here. It's like if you had known, if what's her name, Ariel, if Ariel had known that her voice was going to get taken away and like all of these different things were going to happen to her, would she have decided to make that decision? I feel as though fear might have locked that down. And so you're being catapulted into a new world. And a little note here about the Selkie is that the Selkie actually, the story behind the Selkie is that they have the ability to transition right in and out of the water. They can kind of move between worlds freely. However, when they are when they come onto land, right, and they meet, let's say they meet an emperor and they get married to the said emperor, The story goes that they can then, because now they're entered into a contract which ties them to the land. So when that happens, they can never return back to their original home. And so it's like the breaking, not the breaking, the untangling, or, well, I mean, it could be a breaking, but it's less of a breaking. It's more of like an untangling, unbinding, if you will, of this contract is enabling you to return to your original state of being, which has the ability to move in and out of worlds, of different worlds. You can create all kinds of different worlds. This is gorgeous. You can create any world that you want, and then you can move right into it. And then say you don't like that world, say you want to create something new, something different because you learned something in that space, you can then come back and then you can kind of regroup and then create a new world and then go into that world. You see, this is beautiful because it's a more multi-dimensional life. This is multi-dimensional for you. This has more freedom, more openness, more ability to create it exactly how you want it. Now, it is going to take a lot of like trials, like experimentation. It is going to take experimentation, but that's kind of like all the fun, right? Like the experimenting is the fun. That's the fun of it all. It's like you don't know this yet, but you're being put in a position where your life is going to become magnificent. It's going to become magical. It's going to become multidimensional. It's not stuck in a contract that binds you. Because the binding is what prevents you from moving freely, from being able to create freely, from being able to live a life that you want to live. And that's because, going back to the owl, is that because you would, if you were in this contract, you would be considering the other person. And while that is a great attribute to have, consideration, it also tends, well, what it's talking about is that you have a tendency to put someone else's needs in front of your own. And that is definitely an aspect of the Queen of Pentacles. She's a caregiver. She's one that helps others. She's one that will kind of put her needs in the background so that she can provide a space for other people to actually blossom. She provides space for people to blossom. So that's what you do. And it's a beautiful attribute. But it's also preventing you from creating something for yourself. So this experience for you, the breaking of this contract, is one, it's definitely teaching you stuff. It's teaching you about what you actually want for your life. It's teaching you about yourself. It is a significant, pivotal moment in your life. And when you look back at this, you're going to see that it's like this is the defining moment of your life before and then your life after. It's like you're gonna come out of this and it's like your world is gonna be totally different. You are gonna be different. You are gonna be more you. It's absolutely stunning. I know you're going through a tough time now, Virgo, but good things are coming. Good things are coming. All right. Have a good one. See ya.